Now, our next speaker is going to be me, Jason Burke, and I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to talk about how to monetize your events for top dollars. First of all, I would start off by I produced over 200 live and virtual events. And I've been doing this since 2010. I published a book at Amazon, Become a Big Star in Event Planning. I worked with some of the top business and real estate influencers, including raising capital with Brad Blazer, the $2 billion man, Maverick Million Paul Fink, who just saw a speaker here at the High Performance Summit, the CEO of Realty Forum Magazine Expo, Linda Pelagas. And I'll tell you a little bit interesting story how I met Linda. I met Linda back at her LA Expo in 2012 because we were introduced by Carly Hatch. And I went to the event because I was going with my call to the CrossFit Games in San Diego, California. Go to Linda's 1A Expo, get to know Linda, develop a relationship. And we've done 6 real estate expos in the Las Vegas, Nevada market. And we continue to work together to this day. And then in 2014, I met this gentleman called Bill Walsh from Power Team International. He was at Michael Lafferty's Econo Summit. He was one of the last speakers. And so I volunteered to run his entrepreneur groups. In 4 years, I ran Power Team International's events in Las Vegas. So I was regional vice president for that. In 2018, I decided to create the High Performance Summit, which was a platform to help small business owners and entrepreneurs achieve more success in their business and lives. And I did that. And then recently, even during the pandemic, I've launched my own event coaching. I published my book, Become Big Star in Event Planning. I've lost 160 pounds in weight. One of the things that I did very effectively was really make small dietary changes and walk. I averaged about 13 to 15,000 steps. So I'm at the lowest weight I've been in years at about 276, and I was 450. What I'm going to cover in this presentation is how to keep your events on budget, how to select speakers for your events, and how to fill your events. And that's what we'll go into in this presentation today. Now, I want to talk about the vendor sponsor strategy. This is one of my favorite strategies to use. I use this a lot in Las Vegas, especially to hold our real estate and business meetings. A lot of companies have training rooms. In those training rooms, you can use those for free or low cost, as long as you provide value to that company. So if you have an audience that company wants to get in front of, give them a couple minutes to speak at the beginning of the meeting, maybe 2 to 5 minutes. And they will be gracious enough to let you use their training room for free or low cost. And compare this to what you pay a hotel. This can save you thousands of dollars. And this is important when you're first building your community or you don't have a lot of budget to use and you have to be creative. It's a great strategy. So you want to start out by reaching out to about 10 companies or more, contacting them, tell them clearly how you can add value to them. So it would be speaking at the beginning of the meeting, whether that be through social media, putting them on your podcast, promoting them to your database. Make sure you create the value for them so it's a win-win situation. So the companies are benefiting from that. And that's a really important thing. Extending you consistently get that to use that space, which will save you hundreds and thousands of dollars until you're ready to transition into a hotel meeting space. Another thing too is, so that's a really great strategy. Now, when using hotel meeting spaces, here's a couple of tips when it comes to that to save money. Get at least 5 or 6 quotes from different hotels. Competitive bids can be a great thing because you can play one off the other. Find out what's the slowest day for each hotel, because they're more likely to give you concessions on the slowest days compared to the more busier days that the hotels have. If you're doing a seminar event, your workshop event, make sure the restaurant is open for lunch and open for during the hours you need to be open, because you want to keep people in the room for a live event. So if the restaurant's closed, that could impact your attendance, or if people leave the site, you may never get them back. So you want to make sure, ask questions, what hours is your restaurant open? Are they open for lunch? Are they open for dinner? You want to know those things because that can be a big thing. It can be a big factor in your decision. And you also want to figure out on the pricing, like for example, you can reduce your meeting space cost by just having it a slower day. You can also negotiate the meeting space cost if you have like publicity that you can offer the hotel or promotions where you can maybe barter and trade for the meeting space is another thing. You also want to see if you can do the back end. See if you can pay the meeting space after you've done the event or like collected the money or from the sponsors and everything you need to have to secure that space. So there's a few ways that you can reduce your meeting room costs for the events, because just by doing that, by having the quotes, by having it on a slower day, by asking them for some concessions and figuring out what hotels are going to work best for you, you can save money on that. You can also save money on AV costs because AV is a big thing. You do need to realize with AV costs, though, there's union and non-union hotels. And some of the union hotels will not allow you to bring your outside AV. You'll have to use their AV equipment. You may even have to pay the AV person to watch their equipment on an hourly basis. You need to know that because that's going to affect your budget. Ideally, I like to work at hotels that allow us to bring the outside AV or give us the option of it because this will save you money, especially if you're doing events locally, having your own projector screen, flip chart. Those are some of the basic items you want to have because if you can bring those with you, that's going to save you money compared to having to rent those out. And that's another big thing when you're looking to save money when it comes to AV costs for your events. Now, questions to ask speakers when you're booking speakers for your events. You want to find out what is the ideal target audience, what the audience is, what's a sweet spot, the type of target customer they want to reach out to. You want to find out what pricing they have for the coaching program, especially if you're doing a seminar event and again to pitch from stage, because depending on what your audience is used to paying, which you know because you bought your own coaching and you've had outside speakers, so you have a pretty good gauge of what they're willing to invest. Because your audience is used to invest in $30,000 or $50,000, and you have a speaker offering something for $5,000, it may not seem like enough value because that audience is used to paying more because they perceive the value to be higher. Versus if you have someone offering like a $50,000 coaching program, but you know your audience is all used to paying $1,500, all of a sudden they may think that's too expensive. So you got to know what resonates with your audience, what's going to convert for you. And you know this through your past events, or if you're just starting out with your events, you want to use examples from events that other producers that you can lean on in your network have done and what's worked for them. But you want to ask those questions. And once you know the speaker's a good fit, if they're going to sell from stage, you want to negotiate the revenue share deal. You want to say, how much are you getting paid? Is it 50-50? Is it 75-25 the speaker? Is it 60-40? And what does that look like? Because every company is different. Some companies will pay out 30 days after. They'll have 30-day money back guarantee, so you won't see that money for 45 days. Other companies will pay within a week or 2 weeks. So it depends on how people the speakers structure the business and how you're going to get paid. If you're the one collecting the money, then you got to tell the speakers when you're going to pay them out. But you want to have that in writing. And then when it comes to booking big thought leaders, then this is what name recognition is. Ideally, if you can develop a relationship by hosting them on your podcast and then inviting them out to speak for free, that's an ideal situation. But some big thought leaders want their travel expenses, they want their speaking fee. And when it comes to that, you got to make a decision. If you're going to do that, you have to say, how many sponsors can I attract by paying this thought leader to come speak at our event? How many ticket sales can I get because of this person? How much back-end revenue we're going to do with the revenue share? Is there a chance to do future events with this person beyond this one event? Because that will affect the decision-making process. If this is a one and done thing, then you really need to look at the numbers for that particular event and see if it's a worthwhile investment for you and your company. If it's an ongoing thing, you may be able to being willing to take a short-term loss to build a longer-term relationship will be way more profitable. But you got to make that decision, what's going to work best for you and your confidence in your event and the style or type of event that you're doing, because that will impact your ability to get thought leaders because you want to use that to help you with marketing. So if you can get a big thought leader in there, that really does help you push it, helps other speakers and helps you as well. But that thought leader has to have an audience that jives with your tribe, if you know what I'm saying. And that's one of the big things there. So one of the things also you want to look at too is marketing your events. And there's different ways to do that. Speak and sponsor is great because you're borrowing other people's audiences, and there's different types of speak and sponsor. I want to really go into clearly about this because there's like the tips, the BNIs, meetings like that, or networking events. Typically, speak and sponsor. Maybe you speak for 2 to 5 minutes in front of the group. You have a vendor table. You give your pitch, your power pitch in front of them with your whole goal of getting them to book appointments and their contact information. Have a raffle, give it Amazon gift card, a $50, $100, whatever you can afford. I use Amazon gift cards because people can buy whatever they want on Amazon. So it's safe and it's general for that. There's also other speak and sponsor opportunities, like speak and sponsor and to speak on stages. We get 30 or 60 minutes of time. You get a vendor booth, you get exposure on social media, and you want to identify those opportunities and see what fits for you. This will give you a chance to build your community and grow more, and also close sales and enroll new clients. These events are great in that. And there's, especially now with COVID, now we're starting to come back to the live events, and people have created virtual platforms like this that you can get those opportunities as well, which is excellent. Eventbrite is another way to market your events. Key of Eventbrite is Eventbrite will allow you to create your posting for free. You can collect money. You can add videos. You can add description. Just be aware, you have to make sure you push it out there. Eventbrite will post it on their platform and push it out for you, but you still have to share it with people so that you market an event. But it's an inexpensive way to get your event out there and get out in the community, especially when you're starting out, or you're looking to grow. You're looking to get exposure into a new city. So you may have an Eventbrite in a certain city and then want to have another Eventbrite in a different city. So you're attracting new clients that way. Another great way is LinkedIn events. Now, LinkedIn events allows you to invite LinkedIn connections to accept your LinkedIn event invitation. The key thing with LinkedIn events is you got to call, you or your team members got to call the people that accepted the LinkedIn event invitation to make sure they're actually going to show up. Do not assume because they accepted the LinkedIn event invitation that they're actually going to come. That does not mean they're necessarily going to show up. That could mean they accepted it as a connection request. I've picked up registrations off LinkedIn events very effectively, but I've also known from the experience you have to call and confirm, because some people accept it as a connection request and they had no intention of actually attending the event. So that's why I would say with that, your own email list is another great thing, another great way. Your list is everything to you. This is a list that you control. That's not social media, that you build a following with, that you can do broadcast out to, that you can tell everyone in your community what's going on, why they should come out. And your email list is vitally important. You always want to be building your email database, which is really critical for your business. Now, another great way to promote events is through social media. Now, Facebook is a great way. You can use Facebook groups. I would suggest having a public group and a private group. Private group being for your coaching clients, your public group being for public consumption. So you're growing your communities both ways, which is good. Meetup is another effective way to do that. You can set up a meetup group for very low cost, $12, $15 a month on the basic plan. You can have up to 3 and probably pay like $30 a month, or just under 100 for 6 months. And Meetup will push out your Meetup group to the city that you selected to within 3 days once you create it. So Meetup is getting you new community members and growing your community for you while you're growing your community with Meetup. And you can post your events, you can add photos, you can add descriptions, you can add message boards. It's a great way to build a community using Meetup. It's one of the ways I built my communities using Meetup. Now, another great way is Instagram is another great way. The key with Instagram is your videos have to be a minute or less, because a regular Instagram, anything over a minute, it'll be too long, unless you're using IGTV. IGTV allows you to do videos up to 15 minutes. So Instagram, it's all about having good quality video, good quality photos, posting consistently every day so people know you're out there. And that's very important. And that's just a few tips when it comes to really promoting your events, filling your events, and everything like that. Now, I'll also say this, and I'll do this as a little bit of a bonus session here, is virtual events, because we're saying on a virtual event today. So you want to decide, if you're doing a virtual event, what platform you want to use. Like I use Zoom because I find it very easy to use Zoom when I'm to host these type of events. But everyone has a different platform. So you want to use the platform that you're most comfortable with. You want to use the one that's going to be easiest for your users to get on. Because if it's too complicated and they don't understand it, you're going to lose your audience. You want to use something that's easy for your team to use. Start simple and use a simple platform. You can upgrade to a more fancier platform with the bells and whistles later on. And this will really help you when it comes to virtual events, because if you have something that's simple, you mastered it, you know how to use it, it'll make all the difference in the world for your experience. Another thing too you want to consider when it comes to promote events is you want to have your own CRM system. Now, there's some systems out there I just want to give you some tips on. Keep is a good system because it allows you to have 3, like I have Keep Pro. You can also have Keep Max, which used to be Infusionsoft. This allows you to customize email blast, allows you to track text message campaigns. Keep is a really good system. But if you're starting out, you want something a little less expensive, you may want to go with something like MailChimp, because MailChimp isn't as expensive, but it could serve your purposes until you get to a point you want to go somewhere like Keep or Constant Contact. But you want to pick a good CRM system because you want to build your database. Building your email list is really critical for your success, and picking a good CRM system is really important. And that is a really important thing. And that was some tips when it comes to how to fill your events. Now, what I want to go into is a testimonial from HDTV's Amy Majuri. Amy, we worked with her on a virtual event and helped Amy out. I want you to listen to what Amy has to say about working with us.
Hey everyone, I'm Amy Majuri, and I recently worked with event coach Jason Burke, and my experience in working with him was great. We ended up joining forces on a real estate investment event, and I was very pleased with his level of professionalism. And what I found was, aside from Jason having a great breadth of knowledge in his field, his attention to detail was never compromised. He took the time to understand his clients' needs and wants, and his approach in getting to know his clients on a personal level, plus his ability to understand the importance of holding us accountable, I feel is what sets us apart from others. It's what sets us apart from his competition. I felt like he had a very vested interest in the success of his clients, and he was there to hold my hand every single step of the way. And I'm just excited to work with him again in the near future. I have just found that Jason is a very articulate and polished professional. And thank you, Jason. I really appreciate your help.
So that was a testimonial, as you can see, from Amy Majuri from HDTV and everything. And we worked with her, Amy, as a client of ours here. And so what I want to offer you next is Event Mastery Says Premier Coaching Program. Now, we are offering a free 30-minute strategy session with me, so I will put the calendar in the link, but we're going to go over our coaching program in details. You get 12 bi-weekly strategy calls with me, Jason Burke. You get access to a private Facebook community. You get access to early access to Event Mastery Sets and High Performance Summit event tickets. You get access to Event Mastery Sets video library. You get access to our workbooks, how to keep your events on budget, how to fill your events, speaker selection for events, and copy my book, Become Big Star Event Planning. All this value, if I unbundle this, would be $10,000, but I'm offering this for $1,997 here at the High Performance Summit, and you can get all that access to me and me coaching you step by step to helping you monetize and fill your events, which is really key. So what I want to do is you want to take action today. Go to www.hpsuccess.com/event coaching. You can sign up today. I also will give you a link to my calendar, which I will put in the chat, which will allow you to book a 30-minute free Event Mastery Set strategy call so we can assess your goals, how we can best serve you, and how we can best move forward. So this is my presentation, how to monetize your events. Jason Burke, CEO, High Performance Assessment.